Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Duggan, here with Dan Stapleton,
Hello.
and we are checking out Rebel Galaxy. What is this game? You reviewed it.
Yeah, so and I gave it an 8, which means I think it's great. This game is like, are you familiar with Wing Commander Privateer or Freelancer or any of those old? And those are games made by Chris Roberts, who is now working on Star Citizen. It's kind of open world, open galaxy rather, or open sector. Oops, I remember what that button does. All right, we can show you. So this is the solar map, and then you've also got a star map. Like each one of these dots represents one of these solar systems. So it's pretty big. They're all procedurally generated, so it's different every time. And you can go either through the story missions, or you can just go off on your own and go to each one of these planets, or not all of them, but whatever ones you want, each one of these stations, and buy and sell things. You can go on bounty hunting missions. You can just do a bunch of side missions for deliveries and stuff like that.
Can you become a miner?
You can become a miner.
So it's your basic plethora of various space activities. So let me ask you straight off the bat.
Except unlike Freelancer and Wing Commander and things like that, it's kind of naval-based combat. So you've got broadside cannons where you can fire like that. It's kind of like it's more like Starfleet Command than it is like.
Interesting. So is combat on a three-dimensional plane, or is it on kind of a two-dimensional?
It's all 2D. I mean, you'll see. Let's go start a fight.
You'll
see. I love this sound, by the way. But you'll see, especially smaller enemy ships. Fly over and above you and things like that, or above and below. But it's all kind of for show. They're all operating on a 2D plane. It's kind of 2.5D.
Interesting.
So you never like control your ship and on a vertical axis. But let's just cruise around here. Oh, there's some stuff. Okay.
So let me ask you. I'm sure you've played a lot of these kinds of games, as well as like any kind of flight simulator or something. How do you feel about that?
About which?
About this kind of 2.5D. I mean, I've always equated like capital ships, at least in fantasy and science fiction, to kind of, it's kind of like naval combat, or at least that's the gist of it. You have carriers and dreadnoughts and things like that. So, do you think that this is a good match?
Oh, absolutely. Like I'm a big Star Trek guy. I probably am more Star Trek than Star Wars overall. Although Star Wars has a lot of this as well. I just tried to bout F way more than I could chew there, by the way, so I'm running away. Yeah, I don't even have like any equipment on this ship yet.
Can they scramble your FTL or your warp?
No, but you can't go to warp anywhere near any other ship or a stellar body. So
there's like a mass lock scenario.
Right. Yeah. So you've got to get far enough away from stuff before you can do anything. And right now I'm just ignoring the main mission. You can do that. It's in kind of like a Skyrim sense. You can just go off and do your own thing.
So are these all? Was that a skill shot you just used, or does it kind of have an auto lock functionality?
It's not really skill based. Oh jeez.
I was like, because if that was a skill shot, you just hit a needle from a mile away.
No,
that was impressive.
It's basically auto aim. Like you can see the you can see my what is this thing? The aiming thing.
The reticle.
Kind of, yeah. Well, it's not really reticle, but you're seeing it home in on the target there.
The telegraph.
Yeah. So you can also take control of individual turrets.
Oh, cool.
Which is neat.
Does that serve kind of more as just an aesthetic thing? I mean, obviously it's functional, but is that optimal?
You'll have better firing rate if you're doing it yourself. You can also use it to target incoming rockets, which I was trying to do there, but it was a little too slow. Let me go to a station here. Whoops.
Sure.
So I can show you some of the trade stuff. Let's just pick a.
So while you're in transit here, can I ask? We said we were talking about this a little bit before, but there are all these different kind of archetypes you can fill, whether it be the trader, the miner, the pirate, the bounty hunter, or a mix of any of them.
All the above. Yeah.
So what do you think is the most interesting experience for your money in the game so far?
I mean, I was largely in my main playthrough. I was largely a bounty hunter, and just running through the main mission mostly, and I'd do some odd jobs here and there. Trade is kind of difficult to make any real headway in because it's a little bit inconsistent with what kind of what like it'll give you tips saying like, oh, you've got a really good price on this commodity in this system. Then you run over there and you'll see in a moment here what the trade screen looks like. Each place has a limited quantity of stuff to sell you. So you might get like all the way across the system, come in to dock here, and you'll get in. Yes, okay, so a bunch of tutorial stuff. But you'll go to the commodities market, and it's like, oh, maybe they had a really good deal on this, but they've only got one to sell me.
Right.
So it's kind of slow going until you build up enough money, and then it's still a little bit slow because there's just not enough inventory. So
is that a problem that's like is persistent throughout the galaxy, or just in a handful of stations?
No, I mean, like you rarely see more than like 10 units of anything anywhere. So let's go to the mission board. I actually got my butt kicked there just trying to start some trouble. So and you do have a bunch of system specific damage. It's kind of random where you take damage, and I actually never had a reason to do anything other than repair all in this screen, even when I was blown to within an inch of my life. You can buy new ships. I like this starting ship. It totally looks like Serenity from Firefly. It's the upswept hull
It's a
here.
pretty good design to go with, I think, if they're trying to get you attached and hooked.
Yeah, it's a little homage. We had to turn off the music because it's all licensed, but it's a very Western vibe to it, kind of cowboy rock. But yeah,
as the name would imply.
Yeah, there's there is a bunch of ships you can upgrade to. This is just a small sampling of them. There are a bunch of different ones you can get at places that are controlled by different factions.
And are all the ships combat ready, or are some of them kind of focused towards hauling or trading?
Some of them are have a bigger hold size. Like this one, for example, has a bigger hold size. So like this one has a hold size of 30. This one's 26, even though it's twice as expensive.
Right.
So you can, or more than twice. You can kind of focus on being a trader if you want. You can also expand your hull, your hold, and that kind of things. So let's go to the mission board here and see what's available to make us some money. Here, and it'll give you like the red ones. Obviously, you're going to die. The yellow ones, you're probably going to die. White one is just about right.
Okay.
So let's go blow up a few of these double jack pirates.
How would I gauge difficulty if I were just organically fighting somebody in the world?
So it does pop up with a threat indicator, which we can show you the moment we encounter someone. So it'll come up with a threat indicator, and also it'll hurt a lot. That's actually one of my issues with it, is that it's difficult to determine like what ships pose the biggest threat at any given time. Like you'll know you're in danger, but you don't know which ships you need to target. And sometimes you'll be up against like half a dozen ships or more. And it's difficult to know, because like each of your weapons systems has different stats for armor penetration and hull penetration, and if I don't know how strong their shields are versus how strong their hull is, it's hard to pick targets. So it does kind of end up being a light version of naval combat. It's not as it's telling me so threat level red high means run away.
But this, despite the fact that this was a white mission,
no,
or did we just kind of got?
I ran into those guys.
There?
Yeah, I ran into those guys randomly. They're just out and about messing with people. So let's continue on our way.
How is the variance of weapons? Like is it all kind of, you have those broadsides and turrets, and it kind of just tacks on from there, and you get more of those, or are there like missiles you can guide with your mouse, or any of that kind of stuff?
There's no there are missiles, there are mines, there are lasers, there are all kinds of different turrets you can get that have different weapon stats, range, and all other sorts of things. But there's no like mechanical difference to them really. It's all kind of point and shoot. Yeah, these guys I can take out.
Which would you say that that's enjoyable still?
Oh yeah, like the combat is light but interesting. I really like the how you have the different shield facings. Oh, by the way, right now I'm not doing anything. The AI controls this turret, and you can take control of each turret individually. And now just do that. The AI will never handle your broadsides, but it will handle anything else. So let's just come in here and do some damage. So right now he's got a deflector running. Oh, he did for a moment there that was absorbing all damage.
Do you have to angle your shield similar to like a Wing Commander or Elite Dangerous?
Yeah, I mean, you can see in the bottom left there my shields. My shields were. Oh, you know what? I don't even have a tractor beam yet. Dope. But I did get my mission bounty there.
Oh, that's good. You can be damaged by that debris? I saw a proximity warning.
Yeah, and you can bounce into it there. It doesn't do,
oh,
doesn't do much
cool.
damage. Yeah, I like how ships will actually break into pieces that can be collided with.
That's
and
nice.
that will also interfere with your warp drive. You have to get a little ways away from debris before you can warp. And there's just a bunch of little details. Like you can see as I turn, you've got these little thrusters. That's a really nice attention to detail.
And those are articulated. I mean, this is obviously the starter ship, so 100% of players are going to see this. But does that level of detail persist throughout your upgrades as far as you can tell?
Yeah, I love the ship designs in this. They did a really good job of making them all look different and kind of lived in. It's I said in my review, it's much more of a like Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars vibe to it than like Phantom Menace, where it's all shiny and clean and generic. Oh, so here's you got a distress beacon, so we can go like it'll take a while to fly around in the system, but you've always got distress beacons and things popping up. Oh, okay, well, all right, I can't quite win that fight yet.
So there's a lot of emergent events, and as you said, it was procedurally generated, and we're running into obviously not a handcrafted starting solar system because we've run into almost exclusively guys that are going to kick our ass.
Well, I'm a very basic starter ship here. I can show you my save game where I've already beaten the campaign missions, and I have just a massive. Oh, hi, Steam pop-up. I have a massive ship that can really deal some damage.
That sounds very exciting. But before we do that, I have one last question for you. How much time have you sunk into this, and how long could you see somebody playing this who really enjoys it and enjoys this kind of game? Is there a wealth of content here? Is it do the procedural elements start to kind of repeat themselves sooner rather than later?
It is fairly repetitive, but I've spent over 25 hours playing it, and it's a $20 game, so that's a pretty good chunk of time you'll get out of this. And I mean, you can do mining, you can do bounty hunting, there are guilds you can try and kind of level up your standing in, and you'll get access to different ships. If you get, let's see, we go to the shipyard here. Like some of these, this is actually a fairly cheap ship. There are Dreadnought class ships that are like in the 16 million credit range. I actually bought this one at one point. So there's a lot to kind of keep doing later on. So yeah, there's definitely plenty of content in here. Even though there are only a certain number of types of missions, like you're gonna see your go here, kill that. You're gonna see deliveries, like this gives you merchant guild points. Another delivery, go here, kill that. Go here, kill that. So it's mostly that, and there are also occasional escort missions, which are they're escort missions.
And you said there's a narrative story that kind of strings you along in a more linear way.
Yeah, I mean it kind of guides you through. Like the story is not great. It's not bad, but it's kind of generic. A sci-fi story you've probably seen before if you've seen any sci-fi stories, but. It's well voice acted at least, and it's got those talking heads which are reasonably well done.
Well, Dan, thank you very much for giving us a look at Rebel Galaxy. You can check it out on Steam right now. It's in the #1 bestseller slot, so go ahead and pick it up if you're into this sort of thing. And for all things Rebel Galaxy and space, keep it right here on IGN.